So, Malcolm, that's the team recruitment done. Are you now finally able to enjoy your summer?
Yeah, well, I mean, I always enjoy summer here in Florida anyway, but yeah, it's a nice thing to have off the plate, so to speak. It's been a lot of fun, obviously being back home, but also getting such an early start on building the team. I'd been talking to a lot of guys even since January last year, so to be able to kind of get a priority list together and work away at building, bringing guys back from the previous season that we wanted to retain, seeing the marketplace. It's a lot better situation I'm in this year. Really, I was just about 4 or 5 days into recruiting at this time last year, and here we are done. So quite pleased. And now the planning for the season is kind of in full swing in terms of practice days and video days and gym days and travel and all that kind of stuff. And I'll finalize that once I get back from a trip to Nova Scotia that we're leaving on Friday to get up to see family that we haven't seen in 4 years. So it'll be good. And then I got about 3 weeks left after I get back before I head over to Glasgow.
So you've done this for a number of years now, as we know, Malcolm. How much fun have you had putting this particular team together compared with previous years?
I mean, it was fun. Anytime, I really liked, the way we finished the season last year. We went into playoffs hot. We played as hard as we could against Cardiff. A few more bounces or that elusive secondary scoring that we were looking for all year. Had we have had that, we probably would have had a chance to get into the final weekend, and who knows what could have happened there. Obviously, the team that beat us won it all. So it's fun to, talk to new players and sell them on your program and things like that. And when you get a guy that you really want signed, it's a gratifying moment, a very satisfying, and you can't wait to envision them wearing a purple sweater out there in the ice. So I'm excited about our group. I like our group. It's a good blend of size and speed. I think our speed is certainly way up this year versus a year ago. That's a key thing for me was to increase our team speed as well as secondary scoring. We wanted to have some mobility with our defensemen, which I think we have. Goaltending, I'm really excited about, Zach Driscoll. He came highly recommended by the coaches at UND, NHL scouts. My buddy who coaches Toledo had him at the end of the year. Really excited about him. And, I've heard, kind of offhand, people worry about the rookie thing. Well, I was really lucky in the ECHL. I had a couple of rookie goaltenders, Yaroslav Halak, Anton Khudobin, Shane Starrett, all played for me as rookies in the ECHL that all went on to pretty good careers. Andrei Vasilevsky, Carey Price, those guys are pretty good first-year players in the National League. And Shesterkin this year in New York Rangers, who won the Vezina Trophy. It was his first full year in the NHL. So I'm not worried about experience or things like that. Guys are good. They just get better. They just get better. A good goaltender at the NCAA Division I level is facing, anywhere between 5 to 12 NHL draft picks every single night. So the caliber of hockey and the pressure of playing at the University of North Dakota is immense. I mean, that's a top program each and every year. They get 12 to 14,000 people every night. They're perennial national championship contenders every year. There's a lot of pressure on a goaltender to play in that situation. And I definitely know that he's going to be able to handle it. Ty Taylor was kind of an interesting prospect. He's got a GB pass, so that made him intriguing. He's been a good goaltender on some pretty poor teams over the last couple of years, but went into Orlando at the end of the year and showed really well in practices and game, and it was well thought of by the coach, next NHL player, Drake Barhowski there. He's a big guy, and you can't teach size, and he's very athletic. So we're excited to have him. And then Ewan Simpson's a young guy who jumped on board right away. And I like guys that are eager. And, the first conversation you have with them is that this sounds great. This sounds like this is where I want to be. I get a lot of time for guys like that.
I'm glad you mentioned the goaltender thing, because it's new for the Clan to have two import goalies. We've seen it around other teams, and I'm curious about the dynamic, how that's going to work. Have you got a strategy in mind for these two guys and how you're going to use them this season?
Well, Zach's our number one guy for sure. So, and Ty's, we've talked to Ty about, the situation there as well. So, we play, 54 games plus Challenge Cup and things like that. So there's going to be times where he needs a rest, perhaps. But, the other thing is goaltenders here in North America, the number one goalies in the National League, American League, East Coast League, they're used to playing 60 games plus. So they're used to that. And same with at the NCAA level. If you go on a deep run, you're looking at 50 plus games, plus tournaments and preseason games. So they play a lot. Goaltenders are used to that. What we wanted to have is a situation where, if there was a bit of an injury situation, we had an import goaltender who could step into the breach, or, if there's illness or things like that. I mean, the COVID thing is still lingering on, so you just never know. And it was nice to have an option like that of a young guy who's got a GB pass, who's maybe got some aspirations of one day, maybe playing on the GB national team, um, to have and have a big guy who was hungry too. So, but Zach is clearly our number one guy. He's going to be the guy that gets the majority of the starts, and we'll feel it out as we go. Unless there's an injury situation or an illness or a suspension, typically we'll run with the one import goalie and the brick goalie is the backup that particular night. Now that may change, like I said, over the course of the year, but that's kind of the plan right now.
Now, I remember we spoke a few months ago. You told me you'd already started the process for building the team for this year. You had your targets set out. You had your primary targets, your secondary targets, and all that. How close were you coming to get all your primary targets in?
Pretty close. I mean, we lost some guys due to other situations. Like Shane Starrett, for example. I mean, of course, we wanted Shane back, and Shane and I have a great relationship, and that's the reason why he came to Glasgow last year. But the one thing Shane's always wanted is a crack back at North America. After his All-Star year in Bakersfield, he ended up having two injury-riddled kind of years back to back, and that stopped him from getting an American League contract last season because teams were concerned about his health. Could he get through a year and everything? Well, playing the number of games that he did at the level he did last year kind of put those question marks to bed. And obviously I'd talked to him a lot, mostly, didn't want to put a lot of pressure on Shane because of our relationship. So dealt with his agent a lot, but there's been a number of American League teams that have put offers on the table to him. I know he had a real big offer with a club in either the Czech league or the Slovakian league, and he turned that down for significantly more money than we could have ever paid him because his heart is set on North America, and I respect that. And for goaltenders, he's got a resume at the American League level. So, if he can get an opportunity with the right team, he's one injury away from getting up to the National Hockey League. And having been in the Edmonton organization when he was in it, had he have not been injured, the year after his All-Star, I think it was 1920, he would have been probably in the National League with the Oilers right now. That was the plan and the projection for him. So, which is one of the reasons, if you follow the Oilers, they had two older goaltenders this year because they kind of had him set in as coming in at 27, 28 years of age. So, he's a guy who's still got a chance. He's big, he's athletic, and he's a great guy, and he wins big games. So, I'm hoping that this is the opportunity that he gets to get going again and a chance to get maybe a sniff back at the National Hockey League.
So, what does a coach now do between now and when you all get together in Glasgow? You've signed all the players. Do you keep tabs with them, see how they're getting on, keep on top of them maybe for their fitness regime? What do you do with the players between now and when you meet up?
Well, I don't put any pressure on them in terms of their fitness because there's an expectation that they're got to come in shape for sure. And these guys are all pros, so mostly it's working with them on the travel plans, getting them going with that and visa applications and things like that. I've already got a groundwork of training camp done already. We've already got training camp planned, what we're doing each and every day in terms of on ice and off ice and things of that nature. Next comes I've done the kind of a template for our yearly plan, but probably will change it once or twice more. and got to be a little bit flexible with travel and injuries and things like that. So there's that. And then obviously we got a blueprint on the style and system and structure that we want to play this year. I'll tinker around with that a little bit. And I always talk to other coaches, about some fresh ideas that maybe they did this year. A good friend of mine, Jared Bednar, won the Stanley Cup with the Avalanche this year. And I love the way his team played. So probably give him a little bit of time still. I texted with him after he won the cup and stuff like that, give him a couple weeks and then pick his brain on some things that I liked that the Avalanche did and see if we can employ that in our game and whether it would fit our personnel. So, it's just a lot. And then obviously some family downtime. Getting up to Nova Scotia is going to be key. We're going to be up there for 8 or 9 days, visiting with family and friends that we haven't seen in quite a few years. And then both my kids are going to be off at the end of the month to August in different parts of Canada, one for university and one for a sports academy on complete opposite ends of the country. And then obviously spending time with them and my wife over the last 3 weeks that I'm here and getting that real quality family time.
So with the team you've signed and none of the impediments that are on the club this year compared to last year with the late start and everything, are you expecting the expectation to be higher? And if so, does that put you under more pressure?
I don't feel pressure ever. I mean, you do the best that you can with what you have and you recruit and you go after it. So, I mean, we got a budget like everybody else. And sometimes teams have bigger budgets and sometimes teams have smaller budgets. I would have to say that we had one of the smaller budgets in the league last year, and we were 2 points out of fourth place. We went 2-2-2 with Sheffield last year, 3-2-1 against Nottingham last year. Top 4 teams. So we ran good with those teams with an above 500 record. This year it'll be a little bit deeper club. A, because I have more time to recruit it. B, with a little bigger budget, and without the disadvantage of less weeks of preparation and season and things like that. So the other factor is just because you have a bigger budget and more time to recruit, you got to remember the other teams are trying to win too. So it's not just all of a sudden we got a major advantage. Teams that maybe didn't like their team last year have been working hard to try and upgrade theirs too. So until you play everybody once and really see how you stack up against teams, it's hard to say. But obviously we always set our goals of getting into the playoffs. And once that happens, anything can happen. And I look at a team like Guildford last year. When we started last year, Guildford was like second place in the league. And then they went on a big downturn and then they got hot at the end of the year again. So, it's a long season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We had a lot more, a lot of ups and downs, like a roller coaster last year. The goal would be with the roster we have to have a steady incline in terms of our games. We kind of broke our season into 6-game segments last year, and we'd have one segment at 5-1, and then we go the next one 1-5. We want to avoid those huge ups and downs this year, and we want to have like a steady improvement over the course of the year, where every segment we're on the plus side or at least the even side, and then you got something to build on heading into the playoffs. So. Playoffs obviously the goal, and we'd like to find a way to get into the finals weekend where anything can happen and challenge for all the major things this year and give ourselves a chance to win.
Now we know guys like Mathieu Roy, Mitch Jones, Nolan Laporte, all fans' favourites already. You'll have known the reaction that those guys got when it was announced they were coming back. So which of the new players do you expect the Purple Army to fall in love with this year?
I mean, everybody has different, different things that they like about hockey players. You look at our team last year. Obviously, Shane Starrett was a fan favorite because he's a goaltender. That's a fun position. But there was other guys that people really liked. Tim Shoup. I heard quite a few people like Book Boom as well, and different things because they kind of find a characteristic that a player likes or that a player plays like that maybe fits what their personality is, and they fall in love with them. I would have to say we've got a really good blend of guys, like experienced guys. Obviously, Steve Dixon, he's been there, done it all. The only league he hasn't played in is the National Hockey League. But he's got 2 World Junior gold medals, played with Crosby and Ryan Getzlaf and guys like that. Won 2 gold medals shutting down Alex Ovechkin. He's just a real consummate pro. And obviously won it twice in our league. So I think people will obviously gravitate to him because he's such an outgoing personality. And Steve McParland, a really good player, lots of speed, can score. He's tough, does it all. And then you look at guys like Gary Hayden and Brad Kennedy. Younger guys, but they're, Kennedy's coming out of school at 25 years of age. He's a man. He's not like you're graduating at 21 or 22 and, you're still a boy. Kennedy's big, massive guy who's tough, got really nifty hands for a big man. Gary Hayden's just fast. I would kind of say he's a similar type of player to Trevor Cox down in Cardiff. Both played at the same school, both played in the Western League, kind of similar type players. Then you got a guy like Jordan County, who's, a really exciting player for me because we wanted to upgrade our skill level with our British players, with some guys that have been proven point producers in the league, and he's one. And I think the ceiling hasn't been set for him yet either. I think he's got an opportunity to have a breakout year with us, playing with some good players and in key positions and key spots in the game, where he's got a chance to really break out. On the back end, all of our new D, Kevin Massey, big guy, can skate. Sean Boutin's a veteran player who's been a captain or assistant captain everywhere he's played. He's an engaging personality, real pro. And then Gurgley Tote, I got a chance to see him a couple of years ago in the Earth League. This kid's got talent oozing just out of his fingertips. I'm just really excited to see what he can do in our league. And so I think there'll be a lot of, I think the fan favorites will be spread out over a large group. Obviously, Craig Peacock coming back as well, former Clan player and kind of jack of all trades, can do a lot of things. And then there's always excitement for young guys like Boessa and Ferguson too, because, they didn't get a chance to play a whole lot last year in an 11 forward league. And kind of, there was a lot of games we got ourselves down early and had to fight back and had to shorten the bench earlier than I really would like to have to try and get those goals back. So what is the ceiling with the guys like that? I mean, they bring every ounce of energy they have on every shift. So, it's hard to say, Craig, who will be the fan favorites, but I think there's going to be, it'll be a lot more spread out over the team this year than it was perhaps last year.
I don't think you missed anybody. I think you listed pretty much everybody as you were speaking.
As a coach, you want to make sure you don't slight anybody.
Just before we finish, I know you've got a couple of visitors right now visiting. Red, the equipment manager, and Ross, the arena catering manager. Have they been behaving themselves?
They have. They're a little bit sunburnt. We spent quite a few hours at the pool, and then we went out to the beach on Monday night and had a couple of adult beverages at the bar there and sat around the pool at the beach. Yesterday, kind of a little more relaxing around the pool. Today, we're planning to play golf, but the golf course I live on, we're not sure if it's open or not. It might be closed for maintenance, so we might have an alternative plan for tonight. Tomorrow, we're going out in my buddy's boat out in the Gulf of Mexico to see some dolphins and swim in the ocean and maybe see some manatees and things like that. And then we're off on Friday to Nova Scotia.
Excellent. And just before we finish, Malcolm, I've asked every single player for this. I'm going to ask you as well. A message for the Purple Army. What would you like to say to the fans?
The season's coming quick. I know everybody's excited, but the season will come in due time. It's a long season. Don't wish your summer and your good weather away quite yet. But we'll definitely see everybody back at the end of August and building the excitement for the preseason games. And then obviously the home one against Fife. We'll see everybody back. Make sure you bring all your drums and your voices for that first game because we want it loud in the building and to energize the players.